He expressed warnings to others of a force so menacing and unbeatable, it could only be described as supernatural. He called them ghosts.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Call of Duty Ghosts Veteran Difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 14 entitled Sin City. And I think it'd be a cool thing if you could turn on like a monochrome filter for this level, so you could have the whole Sin City look, but have the, you know, certain features be a really big contrasting colour. But you can't, because this is Call of Duty and it's nowhere near as creative as that. Even though that would be kind of paying homage or ripping off another genre or another game or another series. But this is set in, I believe it's Las Vegas, this one, the City of Sin itself. We're in one of the casino hotels, and you're going to be shooting your way through some of the densest and most difficult scenarios in the game. The shootout that's coming up in a few minutes, you have the height advantage, but it really doesn't help, because every time you bob out there's a million guys shooting at you and it becomes extremely difficult. So this is my first playthrough, so when I'm perusing all the weapons, I'm looking for weapons I haven't used, exotic weapons, different weapons, and you'll notice I don't change my guns. I've got this submachine gun that I've never used before that you see me shooting that looks kind of cool, a little bit like an MP5 with a built-in suppressor. It's got the iron sights of a cross between a UMP and whatever those ridiculous rear posts are that should be so much shorter and less huge in your face. It's like a gangbang with two black guys. It just doesn't look right. But I keep two submachine guns effectively, if you've not noticed. This one I'm using here is, well that's not, but that's got a fucking holographic sight on, which I'm not going to keep because I hate holo sights. But this gun I'm using now is the most overpowered weapon in the multiplayer, so if you want a gun that's going to work on any connection, this is your weapon. I don't think I'll be keeping it though. And I put myself in a situation where I have two SMGs in an assault rifle range battle, and it really doesn't pay off, guys. So my recommendation is drop both these weapons you start with and pick up assault rifles. There are so many dudes, and even when you kill a bunch of them and you think, oh, I'll just pick up one of their guns and I'll be fine, they've all got shotguns on the second wave. So for the third wave, you either have the choice of the guns you came in with, which for mine was submachine guns, or shotguns. And I put myself in a spot where it wasn't as easy as it could have been because I was not well equipped, and it was just a personal judgment error because I'm an idiot and I like to use the guns that look nice and the ones I haven't tried yet. But on this sequence we're going to do another kind of stealth-esque moment where you wait for something to happen and then Keegan goes and knifes a dude, and there's not really much for you to do except for kind of watch. You might have noticed a transition there between obviously two pieces of footage. The reason for that is this gun I'm using now looks like it has a built-in suppressor. In the multiplayer says it has a built-in suppressor, but when I shot it at this part, it set off an alarm, so it wasn't suppressed at all. It was very loud, so I had to do the quick transition from me restarting checkpoint. Excuse me. Whew. I do apologise if I make any obscene noises, but I have just eaten, and unfortunately my body feverishly digests things because my metabolic rate is quite decent. I can't really complain. So I believe these moments are stealthy, or stealth-esque. Yeah, listening for what the team are doing. Sometimes it can be a little hard out of context when you can't hear the game for why you're waiting around and why you're laying and things. Like the swimming level. I played the swimming level last night when I was looking for the collectible, and I was watching some YouTube videos while it was happening, so I was listening to them and playing the game. And there are moments on that where your buddy Keegan's telling you to do things, or Hash or Hesh or whoever the hell's with you. And I couldn't hear what he was telling me, obviously, and I don't play with subtitles on because I personally hate subtitles. I understand why a lot of Let's Players and playthrough guys put subtitles on. It's so that you can read them if you perhaps can't hear them over the commentary. But for me, anything that I can read faster than I can listen to frustrates me, because I get impatient at the speech then, and I think it ruins the experience. Which is why if you've ever seen me play an RPG, I'm reading quite quickly, so you know, I'm going through the dialogue faster sometimes than the game allows you to read, and that frustrates me too. I'm a child of the generation where attention deficit disorder was rampant and diagnoses left and right, so we can get all the children on sedatives just to dampen their creativity because it was, you know, it didn't have a focus, there was nobody there guiding it, so people just thought they were ill, when really they were just creative and they had a bad attention span. But this gun is pretty good. It is kind of an SMG / mid-range rifle, but once again, it's got more recoil than the rifles you would have used, just because it's a sub. And you're going to run out of ammo pretty quickly with it, because you never start with massive amounts of ammunition. It has one of the more exotic iron sights. It's a strange one with the whole left dial thing. It's not a bad one though, I don't mind it. I wish the rear post was once again 2 split posts rather than the big circular thing, but I understand why they've made it the way it is. And I've already stated this, but just in case you didn't hear it the first time, I personally would compromise realistic iron sights for aesthetically pleasing ones. And I know this is entirely subjective, but I would prefer them not to look like their real-life counterparts, but to have completely functional and awesome-looking iron sights. And for the most, I think Call of Duty is the best game for it. They make iron sights look really nice and really good. Not every game does. Rainbow Six iron sights look fucking horrible. That game is old and they still look horrible. Like, you can't even say, oh, it's old, and give it an excuse, because they just look dreadful. You know, Battlefield has some atrocious iron sights. Some of the most Lego-y looking, blocky, nasty things to look through. They just don't look stylized or cool or anything. Once again, this is all an opinion. You might disagree, but as far as my brain, you know, translates this world through the medium of my eyes, they look shit to me. They really do. I'm so hypocritical on the little details, when essentially all you're using them for is to put bullets in a target, you know. You're just drawing your mouse cursor to a dot on a screen and clicking. But this shootout here is only tricky at the first part and on the final part. This part here is simple as long as you don't go down, because they've all got shotguns. They've all got this mini stupid looking shotgun that wrecks face up close, but, you know, can't hit anything when they're at distance. But luckily enough, I'm also using a weapon that's quite tricky at distance too, because it is a submachine gun, so I'm feathering the trigger, trying to get those shots on target. And a lot of movement in the enemies. You know, a lot of practice for your aim. And if you're ever curious of whether or not you can shoot through a surface, because this is an engine that was built on the notion of killing people through walls, always try and shoot them. You know, just test the wall to see what happens. Sometimes they don't go through. Other times you'll see a gun drop and you'll have killed a guy. You know, you don't lose anything by peppering a few bullets into a surface. And it always makes me laugh when you watch people play Call of Duty online and they're on about, oh, how did I die? I was nowhere near the window. Well, it's like, it doesn't matter. The bullets went through the fucking windowsill and hit you. You know, you were dying either way. There's no two words about it. You shouldn't have been near that trajectory at all. You know, that trajectory. Sorry, not trajectory. That's a completely wrong word. But this bit's tricky too, because you do not have a decent piece of cover to shoot down on these enemies, because all the cover is perforated and holy and gappy and crappy. You're one big giant bullseye, and everybody else is hiding behind plant pots that you can't see them and things. So I use this big, like, sign thing that I'm stood next to. I eke out a little bit, get hit, see where the targets are, and then I come back later with more life and I address them again. There's an achievement on this level for destroying 21 slot machines. The slot machines are down on this lower floor. I don't know if that's where all 21 of them are. I didn't do it on this run through. But if you are looking for an achievement or a trophy, that is what you must do. But you'll notice too that the AI on your team seems to be shooting a lot. They seem to be, you know, hitting different targets, but not doing a whole lot. And there really is this balance concern of, do you have the AI completely useless, or do you have the AI be too ruthless? Because on one side of the argument, if the AI is too good, it ruins some of the difficulty, it affects the balance. It also affects the player's fun because they're not getting to kill. And a lot of the mentalities in the design that you see here all stem from a perspective of the player should be the one who's instigating the action. And when the player is in control of things, it makes them feel more involved. I understand it. I do. But at the same time, I sometimes think it can be just as bad when the team do nothing. You know, the team are so useless that you're removed out of any real feeling of tension, camaraderie, interest, anything. There's another intel, by the way, guys. You know, I stumbled across a couple of them just looking for things. Didn't find them all. So there's definitely this two sides of a divide where, on one hand, having your team be useless can help a lot of things, but there's always the desire then for them to be useful. Whereas when they're useful, maybe you want them to be a little less useful. I don't know, it's quite a paradox. And I don't know how you fix that. Because to me, I would like my team to be vulnerable, but be functional. And on this moment here, I got caught near that door, and my team ran away, and I was like, fuck, where's everybody gone? But luckily enough, I was able to throw a flash or a stun. You might not need to, but I did it just out of paranoia. And I think it helped. I like to think it helped. But I would probably rather have your team go down and be knocked out for maybe a minute and then automatically revive themselves, but have them shoot stuff and kill things and be good and be decent. Because I think that that's the best balance for it. That way the game is still challenging. There's none of the nonsense of your team dying so much you put yourself into no man's land and into danger trying to revive them, because we've all played a game where that's been a thing and we've never liked it. I don't think there's anybody that's really thought, oh, you know, difficulty's so respectful when you have to go and pick up your teammates because they died for the umpteenth time and then you got insta-killed by the dude sat behind the car who you didn't see. Nobody said that. Nobody said that that was a graceful use of difficulty, because it isn't. It's a bullshit reason. You died because of a liability that was not yourself. And it wasn't even a friend, because when a friend fucks up, you're fine with it because he's your friend. You know, things happen. That could have easily have been you and might be you in the future. But when it's the AI, you can't forgive that. You really can't. So there's a delicate balance, and we haven't quite figured it out. And I mentioned previously that, you know, games are getting easier. They are getting easier. They've been getting easier for a long time because they're more of an experience than an actual threat or challenge. And I've also mentioned that I'm going to be wanting to try and adapt my channel to this and try and experiment and progress and continue to evolve the direction of my content. And I'm not entirely set on what I'm going to be doing, but I think what I'm going to do, guys, is I think I'm going to switch to doing playthroughs, live blind playthroughs, and only do walkthroughs to games that need them. Because I think there's a novelty to playthroughs that you lose in a guide, and I just think that playthroughs are the things that more people enjoy, because it seems to be what a lot of people are watching on YouTube. You know, when you search for the games that I'm covering, you see a lot of playthroughs before you see any walkthroughs, you know. So it seems like an interesting direction to see, and to see if I enjoy it, because I've been doing it when I'm going to be implementing these changes. I will have been doing this for 3 years, and you know, 3 years is a long time to do anything. So I always want to keep on feeling like I'm moving forward. And I mentioned it to another guide maker called Big Benedict, who basically wasn't too sure on what I meant, and he was talking about a whole bunch of different projects I could do from, you know, games that have already come out and other challenging games and stuff. And he mentioned a whole bunch of difficult games, which I understand what he's saying with that stuff, but to me, I have to be looking forward. The whole notion of progression for me doesn't come from looking back. You know, it comes from seeing the new games that come out and covering them. And don't get me wrong, there is definitely a charm and a novelty to playing older games or going back to other games and covering them, and it's something that I will always do on the channel. But to me, you only progress by looking ahead. You know, looking backwards is a way of stagnating for my mindset, which that is no judgment on anybody else, because there are a lot of channels on YouTube that do nothing but retro games and they do very well, and you know, those people have a lot of fun with it. It's just, I like to play new games, and as much as I do love the games I've already played, I want to cover new stuff. I want to continually push forward. And I should really talk about this section here, because this section really annoyed me, and it annoyed me for a reason that might not annoy you. I was getting pissed off at the dog whining. I have a dog in my house. It's my mother's. I'm not a big fan of it. It's huge. It does nothing but dribble and make noise. So I don't really want to have that noise on a game. I don't. I was not connected to Riley. I did not think he was my bestest buddy. I couldn't give two shits. For all I care, I would have snapped his neck on the first mission and be fucking done with it. But that's just me. And on this mission, regardless of what you do, he's whining all the time. He's just whining, and my girlfriend thought it was lovely. See, I'm not a friendly person to Riley, guys. If you're looking for a Riley sympathizer, you're on the wrong video. I do not like dogs making noise. It bugs me to death. I just don't like it. It irritates me. So, like, there he goes. Why is he whining? Why are you whining, dude? I could understand if you've been shot. I could understand a lot of stuff, but it's the same noise looped. Just looping dog noises, and it sent me funny, this entire sequence. Strategy here is pretty simple. Never get caught with the dog. If you get caught in the open holding the dog, you are dead. You know, you're very sluggish when you're carrying him. Your mobility is definitely affected. You have to drop him and pull your gun out before you can do anything, and it is not quick, guys. Dropping the dog takes about 5 seconds. Pulling your gun out takes about 3 seconds. The entire thing's a nightmare, especially when somebody's in your face. You'll just, you know, take the bullets. But just keep picking him up. As soon as you see enemies, drop him and take them out. If you're going to try and carry him the full way and let your team do the work, you're going to be here till Christmas, because your team just doesn't do anything. They're fantastic at pretending to shoot. Like, me and my buddy Aiden, we were playing the multiplayer on Stranglehold, which is a pretty old third-person shooter at this moment in time. It came out early on the Xbox, and it was just, you know, the standard double guns third-person competitive multiplayer, but it was dead online, completely dead. So what me and Aiden used to do, because we were friends and we didn't particularly want to just kill each other and play this multiplayer that way, we would host matches, fight each other, and then when anybody joined the game, we would pretend to fight each other, and then we would kill them. And we were really convincing too, you know, shooting at each other, diving around, looking all spectacular, but missing intentionally. And then as soon as anybody who dropped into the game turned up, we would immediately like turn laser-like and annihilate them with perfect aim. And it was hilarious. And then obviously when a few people turned up, it would just be standard, you know, gameplay as any other game. And that's what these AI partners do. They just pretend to shoot the enemies. They do. It's like they're buddies, and I'm the random internet person who's turned up and spoilt the party. You know, everybody tries to kill me, and my team just pretend that they're helping by firing a few shots and dancing around and looking important. But I think I died once or twice on this level. Once upstairs in the casino and once down here when I got caught with the dog. But aside from that, I really don't remember it being that challenging. So hopefully you'll not have too much of an issue. That right there, wow! I am so close to dying. That is a one-shot right there. One more bullet and I was dead. And I took damage really fast too, so it does show that the game can deliver damage to you. But it just chooses not to. Which... the death on the casino section, I should really upload it just to show you it. I ran down some stairs and I was insta-killed. You know, I was old school Call of Duty murdered, and I've not seen that in a very long time on these kind of games, so it still exists, it just doesn't happen as much. But that's the end of the video, guys, so thank you for watching, and as always, you take care now.